What's up everybody, this is Eric and I'm here in the Frontier Gaming here to talk to you about the Legion Developer Q&A with Paul Cubit about professions. So they started off talking about Blood of Sargeras. That's a pretty tough spot there, people are very sensitive about this. So it is, for those of you who are not aware, it is a crafting ingredient. It works very much like Fellblight does right now, and well, Savage Blood before that. But it is this time it's going to be BOP. You won't be able to buy it or sell it. And so that's because they don't want people to be able to buy power so easily with code, which I actually agree on. It really takes the fun out of the game to me to just be able to buy stuff with code. I rarely ever buy stuff using in-game money. I try to get my own stuff, but that's just me. And people were very upset because they wanted it to be BOA at least. And then Paul Cubit actually said that no, they are going to make it BOP. They don't want people with 12 different outs to just do the same world quest, which rewards a bunch of those every week. And then the guy that has a single character can only do that once a week, and so he gets basically 10 times less uh, Blood of Sargeras, and that's not something they want to happen. They want you to be able to sure do the weekly quest, which is going to give you a bunch of it, but then you need to do the other stuff, the rest of the game. You gotta play the game. And they specifically mentioned they targeted Blood of Sargeras to be a measure of how much you play. So to those who are thinking that's just about gathering, no, it's not. It's actually not. You get it from quests, you get it from world quests. Those in your class order hall, those will sometimes give you Blood of Sargeras as well. You get those from killing bosses and dungeons, world bosses, raid bosses. Also gathering professions, but mostly everything you do is going to give you Blood of Sargeras, even rare drops on regular mobs. So they want you to play the game, basically. You can't just sit on your garrison all day and log in once a week with every character and do the weekly stuff. That's not gonna work this time. Then there is Obliterum, which is a max level item to increase the item level of your gear. It is just like an upgrade system, and it is going to cost Blood of Sargeras to make, so that's one of the uses for that. And that's, they mentioned how the stats are random on the gear you craft, and you don't have the reroll items this time around, which honestly I find it's pretty stupid. I hate how those stats are random. I wish they could target them somehow. I don't know, make it different crafting ingredients, and that set of ingredients will give you haste and versatility, and that one will give you crit and multi strike. I don't know. But last time I tried crafting a piece of gear, I had to use 32 actually. No, that's 34 reroll items on that before I got it to the stats I wanted. So I have a very deep hatred for that, and hopefully that goes away forever. I don't want to ever see that again, but that's not going to happen this time. And so the Obliterum is going to be obtained. Well, you can craft it, I'm pretty sure, but you are going to use the Obliterum Forge to get Obliterum. And how that works is pretty much anything you craft, not just gear, even things like enchants and gems, anything that's craftable is going to be able to be put in the Obliterum Forge, and it's going to be destroyed and turned into Obliterum. So that's one way of getting it. And then they mentioned how that's supposed to offset the random stats. So if you craft a piece of gear and then you don't like the stats, you can just turn it into Obliterum. That's going to help you when you actually get the one with the stats you need. Then you can use your Obliterum to upgrade that. Honestly, I don't think that's a good enough solution. That's very much like the reroll item. I still think that the fact that, well, even more so when Blood of Sargeras is bind to the bound and pick it up, that kind of sucks, because you will have limited resources, you will have to grind for those, and then if you still take like 5 different items to craft until you get the ones with the right stats, it doesn't matter how much Obliterum you have, you still need that many Blood of Sargeras. And so that's kind of still sucky to me. Not a huge fan. On the other hand though, they mentioned how profession gear will be able to compete with raid and dungeon gear and remain viable through the whole expansion, mainly through the use of Obliterum to upgrade it. And that's cool, because if you were to go through all that trouble to craft some stuff and then 7.2 hits and now that's all useless, that would be pretty dumb. So I'm glad that you are going to be able to keep those. That will kind of offset the bad luck on drops. Say if you never really drop your shoulders, you can just keep one that's crafted for as long as you can maintain it with Obliterum actually. So that's cool. I can get behind that. And there's not going to be a restriction on how many crafted items you have equipped, so that's also cool. I mean, that is a potential problem. The fact that you could straight up buy a whole set that's raid level gear, I'm not a huge fan of that. I'm hoping they do something to prevent that, because as I said before, I really don't like how you can buy power with gold. That's pretty stupid to me. I think you should need to play the game, at least to some extent, not just sit on the auction house all day, make a bunch of gold, and then buy full raid level gear on the first week of the expansion. But I'm not sure if they're going to actually do anything about it. Then there's also not going to be weapon enchantments, and that makes a lot of sense actually when you think about it. You're actually only going to have one weapon throughout the whole thing, so if there were enchants, you would just pick the best one, buy it once, and then you're done. That's it. So they made it so the proc enchants, which were usually weapon enchants, they transferred those over to the necklaces, and the necklaces now have the proc enchants. That's cool. That's fine. Those are the most interesting enchants anyway, so that's cool to see they move them instead of just removing it. And besides that, let's be real, the whole talent tree that artifacts have, that's basically a whole bunch of different enchants, so it's not a huge deal here. They mentioned that the gear craft will have fixed item level. They dialed the RNG back a little bit. That's great. I love it when they dial RNG back. I'm not a huge fan of RNG. I think that randomness, more often than not, is a problem. If you have very little amounts of it, sure, that could be good, but you know, all games usually go way over the top with that, so I like to hear that the item level is no longer completely random. You still get those random upgrade chances, like you craft a blue item, now it's epic. Okay, cool, but that's not a huge problem. Another thing they talked about when talking about raid level gear and how the crafting gear would be able to compete with that, they mentioned that professions are not going to have straight up stat buffs, and that's something I can get behind. You remember how before you had like skinning gave you crit and that kind of stuff. There was, I think, blacksmithing or mining would give you stamina, and they don't want people to feel like they need to have a certain profession. They want people to be free to choose whatever they want. And so if you are a class that uses crit, you don't need to have skinny, as before maybe you needed to. I never really played on that high a level, so that those were really small buffs, and that never really influenced me in any way. But that's cool to hear. I can get behind that. I like the principle behind it. And also, on the same line, there's not going to be, more sockets for people with this profession or better gems. The only crafted items, well, they are either going to be able to be sold to everybody, and the only profession-specific items will be mostly quality of life improvements, such as the resurrection device when you wipe on a raid from engineering, or the item that makes you so you don't get dismounted when dazed from leather working, just like the stable has I think it's the level 3 perk right now in Draenor, and that's also cool. I like that. I think that professions should have something that's unique to them, but I don't like it when those are actually just straight up power increases. I like how they're going with this. Besides that, they also did the whole professional identity thing as they did to classes. They added more flavor quests, more content. Now you don't just sit on an anvil and hammer it and boom, you crafted something. Sometimes you have to go, I don't know, to the top of the world mountain somewhere in the world and use that specific forge there. And that can also be affected by the star rating you have on certain patterns. Say you have a 3-star rating on this chest plate that used to need to go to the forge in the end of the world somewhere you don't want to go anymore. So now if you have a 3-star rating, maybe you can just craft it on any anvil really. You don't need to go to the trouble. But I liked seeing that they are actually working on professions. They were looking quite dull to me, so that's cool. Now onto the gathering professions. The gatherers, there's, something that was well known before, that's not anything new, but nodes will now be shared, so whenever you mine something, that vein there, that ore vein, is going to stay there for a little while so other people can also pick it. You're not going to be running around looking for ores and then all of a sudden this druid just dives in front of you and just grabs it, and you're just sitting there looking, baffled that, wow, I just lost that. You are still going to be able to go there and mine it, and after a short while it is going to disappear as usual, but that's a cool thing. And so people were complaining on the questions. They said that skinning should have the same shared node deal, and they mentioned how skinning basically makes their own nodes. They don't really need to go after nodes, they just kill stuff and that's your node. So they mentioned they didn't really think about doing that to skinning. That's not something they were planning to do. He didn't say straight up, no, that's not never gonna happen, but that's such a minor thing, I don't think it will happen anyways. And another cool thing to mention is that every specific node you get in Legion, say the different herbs and minerals, that kind of stuff, will have its own skill level if you are a gatherer. So the better you are at, say, I don't know, let's use water as an example. If you have a better skill at true iron, you're going to be more efficient when gathering true iron. And I'm not sure how they're going to do it, if it's going to be just a faster cast time or if it's going to give you more per node. But that's like, I'm a huge fan of progression, so that's pretty cool to me. That gives you another level to that and encourages you to go out and actually use your gathering professions, because since people had the garrison this time around, there really wasn't too many reasons to actually have a gathering profession. And what they actually want it to be, they want people to be able to have a gathering profession if they so desire it. They want it to be considered a possibility, not just discarded right away because you can just go to your garrison's mine and get everything you need. But they also don't want it to be obligatory. If you don't want to have a gathering profession, that's cool. They want to make it so you can have two crafting professions, or, basically they want you to play however you feel like you want to. There's no obligations here involved. You don't have to have this specific profession. You don't have to have a gathering and a crafting. You could have two craftings. Make it customizable. That's their point here. And another gathering tweak they did is that they removed the nuggets or petals that we used to have when, say, you were gathering through iron but you had one mining level. You would get nuggets, which is not a full ore, and you need like 10 of those to turn into an ore. And they removed that. And actually, I'm quite fond of that change. I never really liked it though. It felt like a very useless step. Just another grind. You never really used that for anything. You had to wait until you had 10, so if you had 9, it's completely useless. And I never really liked that. I'm glad to see it's gone. And the last big thing they mentioned is the fact that there was a guy asking if they ever considered changing gathering professions to secondary professions. And they mentioned that that's not part of their plans, and they didn't, never seriously considered that, but it's always an option. Honestly, I feel like that's not a good thing. I like how it is right now. I feel like secondary professions should be those more basic ones that don't have too much to it, such as fishing, cooking, and archaeology. And I don't feel like any of the gathering professions are so unimportant to be considered a secondary profession. Besides the point that at some point then you'll be able to gather everything, then what's the point of even having a profession specific to that? Why not make it so everybody can gather ores and herbs freely? And that's not something I would like to see in the game. I like how it is right now, how you have to have a specific profession to be able to mine something or to gather this herb. And well, that's just my opinion, but I like how it is right now. So now onto the least important stuff, more miscellaneous stuff. They mentioned that some people are going to be very upset about this, but they said there's not going to be bigger bags this time around for tailoring. They are trying to test other ways to reward tailors, because it's always been, tailors have always been the bag creators. That's almost everything they do, except gear, of course. So they're trying to change this. They said it's not something they have against the bags. They're just trying something different, that's all. Then they talked about the fishing artifact. They said that the fishing artifact is supposed to be a thing that's, kind of hard to find, a hidden treasure. And so, of course, on day one, Wowhead is going to have a page for it, and there is going to be comments explaining every single step you have to take in order to get it. But if you're not going to go for those external resources, then it should be a challenge for you to find it. And then regarding archaeology, there was a slight change, slight quality of life improvement. Now whenever you're very close to the artifact you're trying to dig up, then you'll have some kind of heads up. I'm not sure how it's going to work, if the screen's going to blink or shiny particles or whatever. But it's pretty cool, since it was always a pain in the ass when you're trying to find something. Then you place down the survey, and then it says it's green, and it points in that direction. Like, oh cool, I'm gonna take a few steps over there. And then you place the survey again, and well, it's still a few more steps over there, and they're like, okay, cool. I'm gonna walk a little bit there, then you place it again, it's like, nope, still green. That's always kind of sucks. So now you can just kind of roam around in that general direction when you're close, and you should be able to find the thing without waiting for the cooldown on the skill. And then he said something that I fundamentally disagree with. They were talking about the fishing artifact, and he said that the fishing achievement for fishing every coin from the fountain is not going to be a part of, actually getting the artifact. You're not going to need to do that. And he said that the achievement is, and here you go, quotes, it's just for fun. Honestly, fishing up every coin in that fountain, that's not fun to me. I'm not sure what you guys think, but that's not fun at all to me. That's like some weird OCD completionist mix. I don't know, that's not fun. I'm sorry. Raiding is fun, PvPing is fun. That thing, that achievement, that abomination, that's not fun. No way. And that's about it. This pretty much wraps it up. Those are the main points I found the most interesting. I wanted to thank Blizzard for actually doing those Q&As, talking to the community. Even though this wasn't as controversial as the other one, this was more of a calm one. And even if it's really controversial, even if you're hearing something you didn't want to hear, even if you want it to be different, I feel like it's better to hear something that you don't want to hear than just, not hearing anything at all. So, good job, Blizzard. Thanks for that. Keep doing it. That's really cool. And well, that's it for me. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like. If you have any feedback, if you want to talk about something, just leave it in the comments. And subscribe to the channel for more gaming content. Till next time, goodbye.